Urgent Dallas Cowboys FANS. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey, Cowboys Nation. Today we've got some pretty intense and honestly shocking news coming out of the NFL training camp scene, specifically involving our beloved Dallas Cowboys. Now, if you've been paying attention to what's been happening in the league lately, you already know that joint practices are supposed to be a time for teams to sharpen their skills, evaluate players, and build chemistry. But something quite different has been happening recently. Fights, chaos, and some serious consequences that could have ripple effects on the Cowboys' upcoming season. So, sit tight because this story is packed with details that every Cowboys fan needs to hear. Let's start with the scene that's been dominating headlines lately, the joint practice between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. It was supposed to be just another day of drills, some competitive spirit, and maybe a little trash talk. But instead, it turned into a full-blown melee. Reports indicate that things got pretty heated, with skirmishes breaking out multiple times during the practice session. It wasn't just a few shoves or mild disagreements. No, this was a series of intense, sometimes violent altercations that left many fans and analysts shaking their heads. And honestly, it's not what you want to see from a team that's aiming high this year, especially with all the expectations riding on the Cowboys' shoulders. Now, the chaos reached a peak when players from both sides got involved in some serious confrontations. One of the most talked-about moments was when Saints defensive lineman Brock Richsteiner, who's the son of WWE Hall of Famer Scott Steiner, performed a suplex on Cowboys safety Jalen Thompson. That image alone is shocking, a player performing a wrestling move during a practice session. It's almost surreal. But it wasn't just that. There were punches thrown, players being ejected, and a general sense that things had gotten way out of control. Cornerback Kalen Carson and edge rusher Donovan Eziruaku were kicked out for throwing punches, and even Sam Williams, one of the Cowboys' key pass rushers, was involved in a separate altercation where it looked like he threw a punch. The severity of these fights raised alarms across the league, and the NFL didn't hold back in their response. You might be wondering, what kind of punishment are these teams facing? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The NFL took a firm stance. On Thursday, it was confirmed that both the Cowboys and the Saints were fined a whopping $500, $0 each for their roles in the chaos during that practice. That's a significant penalty, especially considering that these fines are meant to emphasize that unsportsmanlike behavior, particularly during joint practices, is unacceptable. The league has been pretty clear about this over the years. They've been pushing for sportsmanship, reminding teams that these practices are not fights. They're opportunities to improve, not to settle scores or showcase aggressive behavior. The NFL even issued a memo before training camp emphasizing this point, but clearly, some players and teams chose to ignore it. And here's the thing, this isn't necessarily the end of the story. The league has indicated that more fines could be coming, especially since they're reviewing footage from that practice. According to reports from Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News, the NFL has requested the practice tape from Tuesday's intense session. They're scrutinizing every moment, every punch, every shove to determine if further disciplinary action is warranted. So it's quite possible we might see even more penalties handed down to the Cowboys, the Saints, or both teams. This raises questions about discipline, team culture, and how these events might affect the upcoming season. Let's talk a bit about the broader context here because, honestly, these incidents are not happening in a vacuum. The NFL has been increasingly emphasizing sportsmanship, especially during joint practices, which are often seen as a testing ground for players before the preseason games start to matter more. Teams are reminded that unsportsmanlike conduct can lead not just to fines, but also to injuries, suspensions, and a tarnished reputation. This past offseason, the league and the NFLPA have been working together to promote a safer, more respectful environment. But clearly, some players are still letting their emotions get the best of them. Now, focusing more specifically on the Cowboys, this situation is particularly interesting because it comes at a time when the team is trying to build momentum. After a tough 2022 season, Dallas was looking to bounce back with a solid preseason and a strong start in the regular season. The addition of new players, the strategic changes in coaching, and the overall optimism around quarterback Dak Prescott and the revamped defense all point to a team that's eager to make a statement. But these fights and the subsequent fines could be a double-edged sword. On one hand, they highlight the competitive fire and passion of the players. On the other, they raise questions about discipline and control, exactly the qualities that separate good teams from great ones. It's worth mentioning that the Cowboys have been doing a lot of things right this offseason. The front office has been aggressive in the offseason, bringing in key free agents and drafting promising rookies. The defense, in particular, has been a focus point, with new additions like linebacker Leighton Vander Esch returning and the pressure on players like Micah Parsons to lead the pass rush. Offensively, Prescott has looked sharp, and the offensive line has been bolstered to protect him better. But now, with these recent incidents, the narrative shifts slightly. Will the team be able to channel this fiery competitive spirit into positive energy on the field? Or will it become a distraction that could cost them crucial games? And for the players involved, especially the younger guys like Kalen Carson and Donovan Eziruaku, this is a defining moment. How they respond to these setbacks, how they learn from these heated moments, and whether they can keep their emotions in check during high-pressure situations will be critical for their development and for the team's chemistry. The Cowboys have always prided themselves on resilience and toughness, but discipline is equally important. The league's fines serve as a reminder that while passion is good, it must be channeled appropriately. Looking ahead, fans are naturally eager to see how this story unfolds in the preseason and beyond. Dallas has 2 more preseason games remaining, with their next action scheduled for Saturday against the Arizona Cardinals. It's a crucial opportunity for players to show that they can play hard but smart, avoiding unnecessary penalties and fights. The Cowboys' coaching staff, led by Mike McCarthy, will certainly be emphasizing discipline and focus in these upcoming practices and games. McCarthy's leadership will be tested here, as he's known for instilling a disciplined approach, but he also understands the importance of fire and passion when it comes to competitive sports. In addition, this incident also sparks a broader conversation about the culture within NFL teams. Are these fights a sign of frustration? Are they a symptom of a team trying too hard to prove itself? Or are they just isolated moments of heat-of-the-moment reactions that will be quickly forgotten? Only time will tell. But it's clear that the league is taking these events seriously, and the Cowboys, as one of the league's marquee franchises, will need to demonstrate that they can maintain control and professionalism, especially in these critical preseason moments. Many fans are also wondering how this will impact the team's reputation moving forward. The Cowboys have historically been a team with a passionate fan base, but they've also faced criticism for their sometimes controversial on-field behavior. These recent incidents might add fuel to that fire, or perhaps serve as a learning experience that galvanizes the team to play with even more discipline. It's a fine line, but one that the Cowboys will have to walk carefully as they prepare for the regular season. And of course, the media and analysts will be dissecting every detail of this situation, from the footage of the fights to the team's response in the coming weeks. Will the Cowboys be able to bounce back from this controversy? Will these fines motivate them to play smarter and more disciplined? Or will it serve as a rallying cry for opponents, giving them extra motivation to exploit any perceived lack of composure? These are the questions that every Cowboys fan should be asking right now. But amidst all this chaos, one thing remains certain. The Dallas Cowboys are a team with a storied history, packed with talented players and a passionate fan base that expects nothing but excellence. This incident doesn't define them, but it does remind us that football is a fierce, emotional game. It's about passion, pride, and sometimes, unfortunately, tempers flaring. What matters most is how the team responds moving forward. Will they learn from this, grow stronger, and show their true character on the field? That's what every Cowboys supporter hopes to see. So, as we look ahead to the upcoming games, remember that the Cowboys are still very much in the thick of their journey. The preseason is a time to experiment, to build chemistry, and to get ready for the grind of the regular season. The coaching staff will be emphasizing discipline, focus, and unity. And fans, I know you're eager to see how this team responds. Will we see a more controlled, disciplined Cowboys team that plays with fire but keeps its cool? Or will these incidents be a blip in an otherwise promising season? Only time will tell, but one thing, as for sure, the passion, the fight, and the desire to succeed are all still very much alive in Dallas. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this whole situation? Do you think the fines are enough? Are you worried about how this might impact the team's chemistry? Or do you see this as just a temporary setback that will motivate the team to come back stronger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and to the Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and breaking news on everything Cowboys related. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep that cowboy spirit alive. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys.